Welcome and namaste. My name is Dena Jensen, and this is Sun and Moon's YouTube channel. I'd like to share a practice with you today that I have called Strong Back, Open Heart. And the inspiration for this practice came from an interview I heard from Brene Brown. And she talks about strong back, soft front, wild heart. And it turns out that she got her idea for that phrasing from a Buddhist teaching, which is strong back, soft front, from Joan Halifax. And so that statement or phrase or teaching means the strong back is the equanimity. It's this mental capacity that we have from our contemplative practices that we develop to face things as they are. So the good and the bad and the neutral, we keep an evenness to us. We have a strength to face it. And the soft front is facing that challenge or even the good parts of our lives with compassion, keeping our heart open so that we can take skillful action. The Buddhist teachings and the yoga teachings overlap so much. So in our physical practice today, you can think about these ideas of equanimity, approaching the good, the bad, the neutral with an evenness. So accepting what is going on with the body, of course making changes to suit your body so it feels the best. And just that mental idea of course we're all going through hard times, sometimes we have joyful times, and we see them all for what they are, and we have an open heart for it all. And we take skillful action. We move forward in some way that's skillful. So we'll physically focus on some back strengtheners, as well as knowing that our heart stays open more when we have a strong back. So in the asana, as in the postures, when we develop all the muscles in our back body, that increases our posture. When we stand upright, we can really shine through our hearts. We will do some kneeling poses today. So I just will ask you to make accommodations as is appropriate for you. I would suggest being on some kind of surface where you have some padding, and that might be a towel, and that might be a blanket, or it could be carpet or something like that. You may or may not need a block for your head when we do some child pose, expressions of the child's pose. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you. We're going to start in child's pose to get centered, but if child's pose isn't accessible to you today, I would suggest you flip it and be on your back and hug your knees into your back or have your feet on the ground. Okay, so let's get into child's pose, and we'll begin to focus on that back body. Kneeling on something, I'm on my blanket, my feet are actually on the mat, so that can be really nice for the feet. Some people spread their knees a little bit wide. I like to keep my thighs parallel to each other so that they support my ribs, but of course it depends on what's going on in your front body and how that feels for you. So come into your child's pose. If you need a block, put a block down, or you could stack your fists. And you can have your arms next to you, your hands down by your feet, palms up. Or you could reach your arms straight forward. And if you're on your back, just settle in there and tune into your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. And for each in-breath, can you picture puffing the back body? And on the out-breath, relax. Whenever your next inhale comes, try to imagine in between the shoulder blades, breathing there. And just relax on an exhale. So just a few more breaths, breathing the inhale into the back body, trying to feel a puffing in the back body. If you're on the ground, just feel the shoulder blades and in between the shoulder blades on the ground as you breathe in. And release your breath work and just take a moment to set some kind of intention. Maybe it has to do with equanimity, compassion, open heart, strength, courage, or bravery.
And it can just be a word or a statement. On your next exhale, release that intention out into the world. We're going to come up, and you can either roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, so sit back on your heels and roll up, let the head come up last, or put your hands under your shoulders and push up into table. So I'm just going to roll up, sitting back on my heels, letting each vertebrae come up. And just take a moment, look around, look forward, look to the side, just open up the eyes. Okay, so I'm going to turn to face you. The first pose or the first exercise we'll go through is standing on the knees. So a kneeling Tadasana, a kneeling mountain pose. So let's get up on your knees. Make sure you have your good padding. Reach through the crown of the head. Relax your shoulders. And then we'll add on, I'm going to turn just so you can see me. I'd like to add on to this. Put your hands in Namaste prayer right in front of your heart. Put your thumbs on your heart, feeling the heart as we go through this practice. And then we'll open up into W arms on an inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades towards the midline gently, and sit back just halfway. And then come back up. Okay, so you saw that from the side, here's from the middle. From the center. Inhale, open the arms to W, squeeze the shoulder blades together, sit back, but don't sit all the way back. So this is a modified power pose or modified chair pose. We'll do it a couple more times. Inhale, gently squeeze the shoulder blades together, elbows draw towards each other, sit the hips back. So this is good for lots of parts of your body. We can add on maybe inhale, arms overhead this time. So like an extended mountain on your knees, and then exhale, pull down, pull the elbows down, gently squeeze the shoulder blades towards the midline, sit the hips back, and then inhale up. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathe any breath that feels good for you with each movement. Last time. And this time we're going to go all the way down. So sit back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, sit back, put your hands down on the mat, and then put your head down. Okay, so we're in our child's pose again. To come up from here, I'd like you to either roll up or push yourself up into table because I would like to demonstrate how I want you to come up. So take a look at me. We're going to do a little sequence here. So take a breath, take a moment. First sequence, we start in the child's pose, and then the focus is to reach your heart forward first. So we want to strengthen the back and keep neutral spine. So inhale, lift, just watch. Lift the heart, neutral, and then come up. And then watch me as I come down. We're going to swing the arms out to the side, palms face behind you, sit back, bend the elbows, and put your hands on the back with the palms up. So you might not do that part with the hands. You might put your hands down here, and that is fine. Watch me as I inhale. Inhale through the heart, lifting to a neutral spine, and then arms go out to the side, palms up. And then we'll add on some of our things that we were doing. Okay, so let's start standing on your knees. Start standing on your knees. Place your hands in front of your heart, thumbs on your heart. Inhale, arms out to the W, squeeze the shoulder blades together, sit back, and then come back to your center place. Let's do arms overhead on an inhale. On your exhale, pull down into W arms, half Utkatasana, half chair pose. Inhale, come back. Now on your exhale, arms out to the side, belly in towards the spine. Sit the hips back. Put your hands behind you. Palms are up. One palm is on top of the other. One hand is on top of the other. Keep your shoulder blades towards the midline. Okay, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale through the chest. Start to come up. Arms out to the side. Keep engaged in the back body. Arms go all the way up. Exhale, let's come into half chair pose. Inhale, tall extended kneeling mountain pose. And then exhale, arms out to the side. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Palms face behind you. Sit back towards the heel. Put the opposite hand on, so whatever doesn't feel as natural. Pay attention to your shoulders and draw the shoulder blades in towards the midline. Okay, so the shoulders are lifted away from the floor. On an inhale, reach through the heart. Arms go all the way out to the side. Come up. This is our last time doing this. On an exhale, Utkatasana, half chair pose. W arms, sit back. Inhale, lift
up tall. This time on an exhale, come to your table pose. So hands come down. We're going to do some wrist push-ups. Shoulders. You can curl the toes under or point the toes straight back and shift the hips back a little bit and lift the fingers and the palms up. Get a nice stretch there, and then come back to table and just lift the wrists. So we go rocking back and forth, lifting the fingers and palms, lifting the wrists, lifting the palms. I really like this strengthening pose. We're going to do some plank poses. We're going to be on hands and knees a lot. So it is worth it to warm up those wrists. And this is one of my favorite ways that I have found to warm up my wrists. And you can be curling the toes or pointing the toes back and forth. One or two more. At any time, you can take a break and just go into child's pose. Let's everybody come back into child's pose, sit back, maybe reach the arms forward if that feels good for you, or put the arms to your side, hands down by your feet. Find the breath again. Breathe into that back body, releasing it. So however you like to come up, this time I'm going to put my hands under my shoulders and just push myself up. We're coming into table pose. So instead of going straight into cat-cow, get your architecture of your pose, put your wrists underneath your shoulders, fan out your fingers, ground through the fingertips, ground through the root pads of your fingers, especially the L of your fingers, because this is a lot of weight bearing. You could absolutely be down on forearms, or you could be on fists with your thumb pointed forward, knees underneath your hips. So we're not going to do an entire cat pose right now. I want to do shoulder blades or scapula push-ups. So press into the ground without doing anything with your pelvis, with your hips, with your tailbone. Keep that all neutral. Press into the ground and puff in between the shoulder blades, just in between the shoulder blades where you're trying to round, and then release the chest down in between the arms as you squeeze the shoulder blades towards the midline. So this is a very isolated movement. You can do whatever breathing works for you. Usually you come on an exhale into the cat with a puffing in between the shoulder blades and an inhale into this sort of modified cow. Try to pay attention to the back body, okay? So feel on an inhale, feel the shoulder blades separate wide apart from each other towards the side ribs. And then on your inhale, try to feel those shoulder blades come in towards the midline. So the shoulder blades can go side to side and they go up and down, and knowing what they're doing is really important. Take a break anytime if the wrists are getting tired. All right, let's come back into the child's pose. If child's pose is getting hard for your knees, flip it over. Give the wrists a break. Take a nice breath in between the shoulders, in between the scapula. Feeling that area that you just activated. Okay, so let's come up. However you like to come up, you can circle out your wrists for a second, make fists or loose fingers, just making some movements usually is enough to release. So let's do some regular cat-cow pose. Come on down into your hands and knees. So this time the whole spine is going to move, so not just the rib spine. Ground through the hands, take a nice breath in, and on an exhale, drop the tailbone, drop the head, push into the hands and feel that stretch in between the shoulder blades, belly in towards the spine. On the inhale, gently lift the tailbone up, but more reach the heart away from the navel. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and draw them down the back. Exhale as you round, feel the shoulder blades separate from each other. On the inhale, feel the shoulder blades come together and squeeze and release down the back. Exhale, feel those shoulder blades broaden. So a good focus right in between the shoulder blades, which is sometimes called the back heart. So here you're focusing on opening the front heart in compassion, opening the back heart to equanimity. Just feeling the front heart breath in, stretching through the back heart. Okay, so let's take a pause, take a break, and now watch me. So the next sequence that I'd like to share with you is a little bit of a movement vinyasa. So just watch me for a moment. We'll start
In child's pose. You can reach your arms. Don't reach them too far forward, but they can reach forward. And then we're going to slide forward. You might need to walk the hands forward a little more and release the hips down, open the heart as much as you want to go. So this could look more like you come up and you do a little cow, or you can walk the hands forward as much as you want to and maybe do a high cobra. And then we'll walk the hands back again into your child's pose. And then we're going to come up, watch this, curl the toes under, lift the knees and come into plank, and then knees down, back into your child's. Okay, so let's do it together. We'll start in child's pose. So if you're not going to do a big high cobra, you don't need to reach your hands forward a lot, but if you are doing that high cobra, reach your hands forward. There's going to be a good stretch all the way down the arms. This is your exhale, so breathe out here. On your inhale, come into a high cobra or a cow pose. On your exhale, come back into your child's pose. On your inhale, come up, curl the toes under, lift the legs into plank. On your exhale, knees down, back into child's pose. On your inhale, high cobra, hips forward, heart open, squeeze the shoulder blades. On your exhale, child's pose. The inhale, come forward, curl the toes, lift the legs, strong plank, and now on an exhale, down dog. Hips back and up, or you could be down into child. So I'm gonna walk my hands back towards my feet a little bit. You can pedal out your feet. You can bend the knees, but push into those hands, hips back and up. Your feet can be as wide as your borders of your mat. And then let's come down and rest in child's pose. Finding that back heart. Taking a breath in and out. Okay, so please come up. So the next series, if you can do the child's pose without the knees for a moment, it will be a little more accessible as we get into some of these other back bends, the Sphinx and the cobra. So I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. If you still need a blanket, you might open it up a little bit more so that your hands can still be on the mat and your feet can be on the mat, but maybe everything else would be on a blanket. You are welcome to either watch me as I go through this, or you can do it with me. Okay, we'll start in child's pose. And the difference here is we're going to be bending the elbows and placing the hands pointed back towards the spine. So come into child's pose, head down, bend the elbows, and you can either put the palms together, fingers point up towards the ceiling, or you can keep releasing the hands so that the fingers point down the spine. You can walk the elbows forward a little bit up on the mat. You can press the elbows down and even energetically draw the elbows back on the mat. And then please release the forearms down. Interlace your fingers, lift the hips up. Make sure your elbows, and you can just look, make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Ground through the wrist all the way through the forearms. And we're going to come into a dolphin pose. So walk your knees apart, curl the toes under, and now press into the forearms to lift the hips back and up. So really pressing into the forearms and feel the shoulder blades, the scapula, they're glued onto your ribs. And now if anybody wants to come into hover pose, walk the feet back just a little bit, release the shoulders over the elbows, hover here, pull the front body towards the back body, strong in the back. And then we'll put the knees down. Release the interlace of the arms, the fingers, open up the forearms, parallel, release the hips down, and now you're in Sphinx. If you can't get your forearms to be parallel, you can do Sphinx with your fingers interlaced, the way that you did the dolphin. In the Sphinx pose, ground down through the palms, ground down through the forearms, strengthen the legs, squeeze your glutes, point the toes straight back, and now pull the elbows down the mat. I want you to draw the shoulder blades towards the midline to open your heart. Look down the nose. Sometimes people look up, but I think it's nice to just look forward and feel the strength in the back heart.
So that's really pushing the front heart open. And now come down a little bit. Walk the hands back until they're underneath the shoulders, and you'll be in a cobra, a low cobra. So we're just trying to stay lifted here if you can. Pull the hands down the mat energetically. Draw the shoulder blades toward each other to open up the heart. Keep the legs strong. Maybe hold here for one more breath. And then come down and rest. Take a breath. I'm going to do that whole sequence one more time. So push yourself all the way back into child's pose. Bend the elbows. Point the fingers up or point them down the mat. Walk the elbows forward. Press the elbows down to the mat. Draw them back. Breathe. And throughout this sequence, just breathe nice and naturally through the nose. Release the forearms down. Interlace your fingers, maybe in the opposite way that you did, in the awkward way. Curl the toes under. Make sure that your forearms, your elbows are under shoulders. Lift the hips up and back. And we're going to hold here for a breath or two, as long as you can hold it. And if you're interested in hover, walk the feet back. Release the shoulders over. Your knees could be down here. Thighs are strong, front of the body is strong, and the back body. Feel the scapula on your back. Knees down, hips down, open up the hands. Come into your Sphinx pose. Strong legs. Pull the heart forward by energetically drawing the elbows back. Make sure that you feel the shoulder blades coming towards your midline. Big focus there. And then you'll release a little bit, not too much. Walk the hands back. Come into your cobra. And I'd like you to release the head and the chest all the way down now. I want to add on to the cobra. So elbows are pointed up, shoulder blades are towards each other. And now lift both legs, lift the heart, let the head follow, squeeze the glutes and spread the legs apart. Release halfway down. Inhale, lift up one more time and spread the legs. And exhale as you release. We're going to come into down dog from here. So however you like to come into down dog. Some people can push straight into plank. Some people will keep the knees on the ground and push up. And some are going to go through table. Okay? So you could push through plank and then hips up and back, or however you get into the down dog. Ground through the L of your fingers. Push the chest back. Lift the hips up and back. Knees can be really bent. And let's get to the top of the mat however you like to get there. So you can hop, you can take a bunch of steps, you can take one big step with one foot, one step with the other foot. And then on an inhale, lift through the chest, arms out to the side, come all the way up. And the exhale, hands come back into your heart. So let's just do a couple of flows, adding in what we were doing earlier. Come to the front of your mat. Find your mountain pose. In this flow, we're going to go through a chair pose with the arms back, and I want you to feel the shoulder blades squeeze together, and then the arms will lift up, and then we'll forward bend. Mountain pose, ground through the tripod of your foot. Feel your grounding. Lifted arches, lift through the crown of the head. Hands in front of your heart, and just take a moment. This is always a nice place before you begin the sun salutation to remember your intention, or feel your heart, feel your energy of your heart. On your inhale, arms out and all the way overhead, extended mountain pose, or you could be W arms here. Exhale, bend the knees, hips back, release the arms beside you and back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. On an inhale, lift the arms forward, the chest lifts slightly. Exhale, bend at the hips and touch the ground. The inhale will step the right foot back. Exhale, drops the right knee down. Inhale, lifts both arms overhead. Exhale, touch the ground. Inhale, step the front foot back to table. And now we'll go through our little vinyasa. Exhale, sit the hips back into child's. Inhale into high cobra. Exhale, back to child's. Inhale into plank. Lift up, curl the toes, lift the thighs. Exhale into downward facing dog. Walk out that dog.
So take 1 or 2 breaths in down dog. And then please come back into your tabletop pose. Take a breath in table. Take a breath out, step the right foot forward, however you can get it there. The inhale lifts the arms overhead. Exhale, touch the ground. Inhale, curl the back toes under and lift the back leg, high lunge. Exhale, slide the back foot forward into a forward bend. Bend the knees if you need to. On your inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands come in front of your heart. Let's do the other side, same vinyasa. Pause, breathe, feel your heart. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, bend the knees, arms down and back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, fold at the hips. Inhale, step the left foot back. Exhale, put your left knee down. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, touch the ground. Inhale, step to table. Exhale, into child's. Inhale, into high cobra. Exhale, back to child's. Inhale into plank. Exhale into down dog. Walk it out. You could be back in child's here. You could be in a puppy dog. So again, however you like to get to the front of the mat, I'm going to cue you through tabletop. This would be an inhale. Exhale, steps the left foot forward. Inhale, lifts the arms overhead. Exhale, touch the ground. Curl the back toes under. Inhale, lift the back knee. And exhale, slide the back foot forward. Inhale, lifts you all the way up. Exhale, hands in your heart. Okay, so one more vinyasa, one more cycle, right side and left side. We're going to add on this time all of the forearm things that we were doing, including the Sphinx pose and some cobra variations. Okay, so stand strongly in those feet. Engage your legs. Crown is always lifted. So this really good posture, when you strengthen your back muscles, your posture will continue to improve, allowing you to shine forward through your heart. Let's put the hands right in front of the heart. Feeling lots of compassion for ourselves and for others. When an inhale comes, lift the arms up and out, overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, arms down, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, lift the arms and chest. Exhale, bend at the hips and touch the ground. Inhale, step the right foot back. So we're going to stay in high lunge here. Exhale, step the front foot back, coming into plank pose. Drop your knees down, come down onto forearms, put your elbows underneath your elbows underneath your shoulders, interlace your fingers, and you can stay here or you can pop back up into a hover pose. Strong legs, engaged belly, feel your shoulder blades glued onto the ribs in the back. Drop your knees down, drop your hips down, open up your arms. So release the interlace into the Sphinx. You can walk the elbows forward if this is too high. And pull that heart forward. So the elbows draw down the mat, and that is going to pull your heart forward. So you imagine your heart is leading you towards the front of the mat. And then come down, put your hands down for a low cobra, engage those legs and do the same thing. Pull the hands down, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You're imagining you're trying to pull yourself towards the top of the mat. Strong legs. We're gonna add on those variations to cobra. So come all the way down. Decide if you're keeping your hands where they are. They can step wider or down. Let's add on some legs. So this is a little bit like cobra locust combination. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the legs, open the legs apart. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lower halfway. This is a good strengthener. Inhale, lift up again. Pull the hands down the mat. This is good for SI joint dysfunction too. And then come all the way back down. From here, however you like to get to down dog, it can be through table, or you can go to puppy dog, or you can try to push yourself straight into plank, or keep the knees down, do knee plank, and then hips back and up. Down dog. Ground through the L of the fingers. Make sure you have good contact with your fingertips. long spine, equal side waists, moving however you like. So how do you like to get your feet up to the front of the mat? Some people are going to hop, some of you are going to take a couple steps, some of you take one big step with your right foot, one big step with your left foot. We'll take an inhale, lift up, exhale, hands into your heart. One more side to go and then we'll pull down. Find your feet, always find your grounding. So push the feet into the mat. Sometimes it feels good to push down and out. Sometimes it feels good to pull the feet in, but be grounded. Crown of the head is lifted. Good posture. Head is right on top of the spine. Ear on top of shoulder, on top of hip, on top of knee, on top of ankle. And then hands at your heart, thumb right on that energetic heart, physical heart center. Find that moment of compassion. It's okay, whatever movement you're doing today is great. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, chair pose, bend the knees, hips back, arms back, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Inhale, lift the chest forward. Exhale, touch the ground. Inhale, step the left foot back. Exhale, step the right foot back. Drop the knees, come down onto forearms, interlace your fingers, maybe in the opposite interlace. Breathe naturally. Lift the legs, strong legs, engage abdomen. Feel the scapula on your rib cage. Drop your knees down. That's one of the best strengthening poses. Drop your hips down. Open up your hands. Sphinx pose. Pull the heart forward. Elbows back. Strong legs. If you would like to add on to Sphinx, what would it be like if you bent the knees, flexed your feet? And then put your feet back down. Let's come into cobra. Come all the way down this time. Move your hands out from each other. So widen your hands. Come up onto fingertips. So your hands aren't all the way by your side this time. Point the toes straight back. Engage the legs, and now on an inhale, lift the heart forward and up and push into those fingertips. And exhale. Come all the way back down. Let's put the arms all the way down by your side so that your hands are down by your hips or your thighs. Palms are down. Fingertips are pointed towards the ceiling. Locust pose. Draw your shoulders away from the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale. Lift the arms. Lift the legs. Feel that back body working. This is one of the best poses for your posture. Working the back body. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. You can come down at any time. The shoulder blades are drawn in towards the midline, squeezing the legs and the glutes. And come all the way back down. Good job. That's hard work. However you like to get into your down dog, you can go through plank, table, however it works for you. And breathe. I'll show you how you might hop forward, or you can take a big step forward. If anyone's interested, you can look in between your hands. You bend the knees. I come up onto fingertips as I'm hopping, and then you try to hop in between your hands. And then inhale, arms out. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Okay, so for cool down, you could, we're gonna do a forward bend. You're welcome to forward bend and put your hands on any piece of furniture that works for you. Or if you're able to clasp your hands behind you, interlace your hands and make sure you draw the shoulder blades back, shoulder blades in towards the midline, shoulders back. And this might be what you choose to do, is to stay here. If you want to do a forward bend with me, let's step the feet wide so you can turn to the long border of your mat. Parallel your feet. Breathe in. And on your exhale, bend at the hips. And you can leave the arms on your back, or you can lift them away from your back, but keep the shoulder blades squeezing together. Keep the shoulders lifted away from the ground. Make sure you're really activating that back heart area, strengthening there. And then press into your feet to lift yourself back up. Release your hands. All right, so let's cool down with a twist or two, and then we'll end our practice. So come down however you like to come down onto the mat. Let's just do a couple lying down twists.
It's nice after you've done, these weren't huge back bends, they were more focused on the chest region and not too much on the low back, but twists can still feel really good. Do some simple windshield wipers. Feet can be together, so let's try it just different ways. Step your feet together, step your knees together, arms are just out of the way. If the palms are up, that it will broaden and open your chest more, so try to feel what that's like. If that doesn't feel good for you, you need more support, put your palms down. And it's nice to take a breath in, and usually you breathe out when you come into the twist. So both knees drop to one side, look away. Inhale, back up, and exhale to the other side. Inhale, back up, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, back up. What happens when you step the feet hip distance? What's that feel like? So having this curiosity. Inhale, exhale, knees drop to one side. Your head can stay center or it can roll from side to side away from your knees. And any of the breath that we give you, it's suggestions. Try the suggestions and then decide if there's a different way that you would like to do it that just feels more comfortable. The next time that the knees are up, let's try with the feet wide. Like pretty wide, almost as wide as your mat. And let the knees drop to one side. Come back up, knees to the other. And then make your choice, come back to the one that you like the best. Do a few more with your own breath. And then please even out and hug the knees into the chest. That could be one knee or both knees. Give a big hug. So you deserve a nice big hug. If there's anything that you feel like you want to do here, including the knees to chest pose, which combines breath and movement, you're welcome to do that. Straightening the arms and bending at the elbows, or you could do some circles with your knees, keeping the knees together and making circles, or even having the knees go in opposite directions and make circles. It's really nice to have these videos and to just be in the comfort of your own home and start to do all of the things that you really enjoy. So you listen to the suggestions, but then you have the power to do things that feel great for you. Let's bring the knees into each other. Put your arms in between the thighs. Hold on to your ankles or your shins. Open up the knees wide, straddle pose. Take a couple breaths. And we might end the practice by stepping your feet down, either keeping the knees bent or opening the knees apart from each other. Reclined butterfly, reclined cobblers, Supta Baddha Konasana. Wherever you are, let's put one hand down on the low belly and the other hand up in your heart. And take a few breaths here. You could do two-part breathing here. You could have just container breathing where both the belly and the chest rise at the same time, or you can separate the two breaths. Or you can just have natural breathing and feel this nice integration when one hand is on the low belly, abdomen, and the other hand is in the chest area. You're welcome to stay here, be relaxed, come into a final relaxation, or bring your knees together if they were still apart. Roll over to a side and come on up, your choice. So again, being at your home, you can make these decisions. So if you're coming out and closing with me, we'll take a tall seat, whatever that means for you.